Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with an action figure that I've been itching to review now for a while. This is the Medicom MAFEX Superman Batman Hush action figure. Ever since I did the Batman one, I had to jump on this, so I pulled the trigger and picked this one up. Speaking of, if you guys do want to pick this figure up, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to pick up your figures and comics, just to help out local businesses. However, online, you're gonna have to check the secondary market. I grabbed mine on Amazon, checked again, it is long gone. So I have my fingers crossed for all of you that want to pick this figure up. Now, as you see here, it says Batman Hush. Great product shot of Batman, Superman there, MAFEX, and then Medicom Toys there, little fancy logo there. DC, get a cool angry face Superman there. Come around to the side, cool, just large and in charge Superman shot there. And I love here on the back how they give you all the different ways that you can pose your figure, especially with the MAFEX Batman. It's really great stuff. Shows the accessories, good stuff all around. Come back to this side, gives you another product shot with Batman Hush there. Looks great. Nothing on the bottom. So with that said, let's get the Man of Steel out of this packaging and get a closer look at him. And here's Superman out of the packaging, and wow, this thing is so gorgeous. I was a little reluctant. I'm usually like that with figures. I mean, after messing with the Batman, I love that one. But still, you get something that's a little bit different, that's not, you know, what you're used to, such as McFarlane. But man, look at this one with the bendy wire cape. That's what I'm talking about. This is the type of Superman that we all want in our collection. Love the way this one looks. Love the way it's sculpted. Love that cape. Love the accessories. So with all the gushing aside, let's take a further look into this figure, because I'm just head over heels for this Superman. This Superman was inspired from the Batman Hush series, and what happens is Batwoman and Catwoman are now in a romantic relationship, finally showing affection to each other. So they team up and track Poison Ivy to Metropolis. There, they find Ivy's taking control of Superman, and she commands the Man of Steel to kill Batman. After a just major battle of the Titans ensues, Superman finally becomes free from Ivy's control with some unconventional help from Batman and Catwoman. Now, Ivy being caught by the world's finest with an assist from Crypto and a mean right hook from Catwoman was an excellent way to conclude this arc of the Hush series, while still leaving us wanting more as Hush continues to stalk the Dark Knight. Now, that's the backstory on this figure. Let's looky talk. I'm gonna start using that from now on. At the paint apps, this figure, oh, I can't stop gushing at how gorgeous this piece is. I was a little reluctant at first. I didn't know if they would really be able to capture the Man of Steel. And as you can see, especially with the bendy cape wire, oh my God, like, I hate to say it, but it blows the McFarlane versions out of the water. The one thing that is a little, not off-putting, but is evident, is the fact that even though this does look like Superman, he has kind of that manga face about him. But that's okay. I mean, you look at it and it looks like Clark and everything that Superman would stand for. The skin tone is correct. The blue eyes look great. Of course, you have to have the hair curl. And then I love also that they dry brushed blue into his hair like the old school comics, to show that back in the day they would use a little bit of blue in the hair if they had black hair, like him and Dick and Bruce, etc., so forth, just to kind of, so that they wouldn't be flat. It would just make it stand out in the comic pages, and that just looks great. The S looks exquisite, just very Superman. The blues, of course, to his tights look excellent. The S, and of course he has to have the trunks. I'm sorry, I know this has been a debate since the New 52, but you gotta have the red trunks, man. That's Superman in a nutshell. And of course the classic red boots just look great. And I love that there's no pins. I hate that. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. So there's no pins, so it's pinless here. But then, of course, we have to see the stupid silver pin in the foot. It's like, why? Why? We don't see them anywhere else like you'd see on a Hasbro figure. So it is what it is. And then, of course, the crowning achievement of what I love about MAFEX. That S looks so freaking good. But what, of course, is the bendy wire red cape. That's exactly what we want to see on a Superman figure. That's why I get so frustrated with Hasbro and McFarlane as they keep doing plastic, and it takes away from the figure, in my opinion, because you can't sit them down. You can't, I mean, look at this. You can't make it flow like you can with this, especially if you want to do like a flying pose. I mean, look at the way it ripples. That's what you want from your figures. And I don't know if it's so expensive to sew this, but since a lot of modern action figure companies are so concerned about plastic initiative, especially Hasbro, this would be a very good way to get past that, because it's cloth and bendy wire. Come on. You guys would be giving MAFEX and all these other high-end figure companies a run for their money. I mean, if you have to jump it up to, I mean, you guys already have figures at what, 25, 26 bucks? If it's like 35, if you had that cloth cape, I'd be down like the clown for that, in my personal opinion. Now, cape aside, musculature looks great all the way around. Yellow belt, just everything about this Superman looks gorgeous. Now, speaking of, let's talk about the accessories real quick before we get into the articulation. He does come, because Ivy in this series controls Superman. Why am I not getting a focus? Not getting a focus. There it is. So yeah, he gets this kind of the grumpy face, so his eyes get the heat vision, so I love that red in there. The blues look good. Now, the one thing that I will say is, so we get kind of the more serious Superman face, which is right there, and then this one, which is the controlled by Ivy angry face, getting ready to duke it out with the Dark Knight. It'd be nice to get a smile face too, to just show the compassion of Superman, kind of like with the one, the head sculpt that came with the GameStop Superman that we went over, where he just kind of has like that sideways smile. It went a long way. But if that's like the only head sculpt you get, it sort of diminishes it. But being able, if we would have just had a third head with a smile, that would have been great. Just so we'll have 3 different iterations of Superman's, emotions. Now, another thing that I love about MAFEX is the variety of hands that we get. And they put them on these cool little pegs, so you can't lose them. Now, one thing is they gave us 2 sets of fists. I don't think they were really thought about that when they did this, so we get 2 sets of fisty hands, a set of flying hands, which I love those. Great sculpting work on those hands. We also kind of get like the more gripping, choking hands, to choke the Dark Knight. Better to choke you with, my darling. Look great. And then the last ones that we get, we get these resting hands, which are perfect, because it kind of gives you that more like, just, if he wants to make him stand or have him look into his hands, like, what have I done type look. Just great stuff there. The other thing that I like is that it does come with the, just like with the MAFEX Batman, it does come with the kryptonite ring. And I love how Superman tells Bruce in that, how I could want to, I gave the ring to the right person. And man, does Batman go to town on the Man of Steel with that kryptonite. It's good stuff. The last couple of things that Superman does come with, if I can get them out here, are, of course, little Ivy ornaments, which are really nice looking. I like that the crown one pops open, so you need to put on his head, his neck, what have you. These, I believe, go on his wrists, like, so you just pop the hand off, slide that on there. Greens look absolutely great on him, and I love the way that the leaves intertwine like Ivy would do. The last thing that he does come with is, I'm gonna lay him down and kind of get him out of the way, is sort of this flight stand. Batman came with one as well. I like that's clear, so if you have to put it on a shelf, you can. The one thing that I like about these compared to the flight stands that we get with the multiverse figures is one of my flight stands, the part that is actually supposed to hold the weight of the figure is super loose, so it'll just like drop. It is so frustrating. As where this one, it actually leaves it open, so if it gets loose, you can tighten all 3 pivot points. And that's awesome to me, and then it gives you a 3-point way of how you would like to pin, what's it called? Where you want to put the damn figure on your stand, so I appreciate that. Really great stuff. I love just the amount of accessories that MAFEX gives you a plethora of options to do with your figures. Now, for articulation, and one thing I do want to say before we get in the articulation, these heads, when you swap them out, be careful, because when I popped my head off, it's a tiny little dumbbell, and the damn thing came off into the head. Had to warm the head up and get some pliers and pluck it back in, warm this neck piece out, because this neck's it's its own piece as well, and had to kind of warm the neck piece around that dumbbell again, so I have to be very careful when I swap these heads out, so just keep that in mind. That was really irritating and unnecessary on my figure. Now, speaking of the head, love that the neck is loose too, so you can really get that range of motion to get him look down and to get him to look up, side to side, and again with that neck being loose, range of motion, 360, and of course warm your figures up, because yeah, I mean, I've warmed this one up, and this arm still has a squeak to it, so you have to be careful. I like that it has a relatively good butterfly joint there. Ooh, let's do the other arm, because that one's still kind of tight. I've warmed this figure up several times, and it just seems like I cannot get that left side to behave. So upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, hand spin like so. And it does have the ratchet, so you can go up, down. I love that it's basically double pivoted here at the solar plex and at the waist, so you can get them to go down that far and really get them to go back if you want to do flying poses. So that's very welcome addition. And of course can spin there, spin there. The legs do go out that much, kick out really far, and it has that up and down motion too, so if you need to go further or whatnot, it's a welcome addition. I'm glad that the G.I. Joes have those, but unless you warm this up, you really can't go back that much. I really don't want to break it, as you can kind of see the joint there. I don't want to mess that up, but warm it up, move it around. Maybe you guys will get more luckier than I am with that particular way. Double jointed knee, foot go back, foot go up about that much, pivot, and of course has the ankle rocker. So for a more high-end figure, I'm very thankful for what we get, especially with the cape, just being able to bend this almost as much as you want. And of course, I love how it just doesn't really attach on the back. I love when Superman kind of shows that it just attaches at the sides. I don't know, I just thought that was a cool design, and I'm glad that with this figure, that's what we got. It just adds to the awesomeness of this particular Man of Steel figure. Now to round out the cast of Hush, here is the DC Collectibles Designer Series J. Lee Catwoman. This is the DC Direct Hush Poison Ivy. And then of course we have to go with the Medicom MAFEX Hush Batman. And these characters, these figures in particular, set them up next to each other, absolutely exquisite. I cannot wait until the new MAFEX Poison Ivy comes out, and we'll make sure to go over that one. But I mean, look at this one. Even though it's an older figure, you add the Ivy effects that come with Superman. And it just makes this one pop. Yeah, the articulation sucks. It is what it is. We have gone over this figure, so I'll leave a card somewhere in this review so you can check it out at your convenience. Same with this Catwoman and this Batman. But if you use what you have in your collection, and all 4 of these figures, if you want to do like a Hush setup with the actual Hush figure, is going to look beautiful. And we'd love to see photos of it over on our social media page, as well as your action figure photography. And just, let us know what you want to do with these figures. Are you going to pose them? Are you going to photograph them? Let us know. We are genuinely curious. This is a figure that I will cherish. It just encompasses everything Superman, the cape just flowing, being able to pose him any which way that I could possibly imagine, having 2 really cool looking head sculpts and all the accessories. So if you want to kind of go more of an old school style or kind of follow a look on your shelf for Hush, you guys are going to have several different options with this figure. My biggest gripe, if I had to have any, would be the fact that, and I've heard people say this online, can we get a smiling Superman head? Now, not just like a smiling figure, because when you have just that one head sculpt, you just feel limited. But it would have been cool if they came with the serious head, the one that we got where he has his heat vision getting ready to go. And it just would have been nice to have an old school kind of original Superman #1 Superman smile. That would have been a really nice accessory, just to show his compassion for the human race. But, other than that, just having 2 grumpy faces, that's okay. This is still a beautiful figure, and if you are a Superman fan, this is one you want in your collection. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please, as I said at the beginning of the review, first and foremost, support your local comic shop or wherever it is you like to get your comics and figures. If not, secondary market, which I will be keeping my fingers crossed for y'all. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little super bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.